Welcome back, my fellow night owls, to another chilling episode. Tonight we delve into the eerie world of phantom phone calls. Those bone-chilling moments when the silence is shattered by a ring, a voice from beyond the grave whispering through the receiver. We've all heard the stories, the whispers of calls from those who are no longer with us. But are they just stories? Or is there something more? Something sinister lurking in the airwaves? Brace yourself for 3 terrifying tales of messages from beyond the grave. Stories that will make you question every ring, every vibration of your phone. Are you ready to answer the call? The silence of Sarah's apartment was broken only by the soft hum of the city outside. It was a Friday night, the kind that begged for takeout and a good movie. As she scrolled through her options, her phone buzzed, a notification popping up on the screen. It was a voicemail. Odd, she thought. Who leaves voicemails anymore? Clicking on the notification, her heart skipped a beat. The name that flashed across the screen sent a chill down her spine. It was her grandmother, Nana Rose. But Nana Rose had passed away a month ago. Sarah stared at the screen, her finger hovering over the play button. A wave of dread washed over her. Taking a deep breath, she pressed play. The voice that crackled through the speaker was unmistakable, yet weaker, distorted. It was Nana Rose, her voice filled with a strange urgency. "Sarah, it's me. Don't trust." The message cut off abruptly, leaving Sarah in stunned silence. Don't trust who? What did Nana mean? A million questions swirled in Sarah's mind. The voice, though faint and distorted, was undeniably Nana Rose's. It couldn't be. Could it? Over the next few days, the voicemail played on repeat in Sarah's mind. She couldn't shake the feeling that it was a warning, a message from beyond the grave. Driven by a mix of fear and concern, Sarah tried calling the number back. It was disconnected. She even went as far as contacting the phone company, but they were unable to provide any answers. The mystery deepened, casting a dark shadow over Sarah's life. Days turned into sleepless nights, the unanswered questions gnawing at her sanity. The warning in Nana Rose's voice echoed in her ears. Don't trust, but who? Her friends, her family? As paranoia set in, Sarah started to withdraw, isolating herself from the world. The once vibrant young woman was now a prisoner in her own home, haunted by a voicemail from beyond the grave. One evening, while going through her grandmother's belongings, Sarah stumbled upon an old diary. As she flipped through the brittle pages, a name leaped out at her. Robert, a man Nana Rose had mentioned in passing, someone she had a falling out with years ago. Could Robert be the key to this mystery? The voicemail, the warning, it all seemed to point towards him. Determined to find answers, Sarah decided to dig deeper, unaware of the terrifying truth that awaited her. Mark was used to the quiet. Working the night shift at a gas station on the edge of town had a way of making you familiar with solitude. But lately, the silence had been broken by a series of unsettling phone calls. It always started the same way. The phone would ring, a shrill, piercing sound that echoed through the empty aisles. He'd pick up expecting to hear the drone of a telemarketer or a wrong number, but there would be nothing but static on the other end. At first, Mark brushed it off as a prank. Kids, probably, but the calls persisted, becoming more frequent, more insistent. One night, the static cleared and a voice broke through. It was a man's voice, gravelly and distorted as if it were coming from the bottom of a well. "You took something from me," the voice rasped, sending chills down Mark's spine. "And now, I'm coming to take something from you." Mark slammed the phone down, his heart pounding in his chest. He had no idea who it was or what they were talking about. He tried to rationalize it, telling himself it was just a prank call, but the fear was already taking root in his mind. The calls continued, each one more menacing than the last. The voice on the other end seemed to grow angrier, more desperate. Mark's life, once ordinary and predictable, was now consumed by fear. He stopped answering the phone, but the ringing continued, relentless, unforgiving. One night the phone rang and Mark, in a moment of weakness, answered. "Who is this?" he demanded, his voice trembling. The voice on the other end chuckled, a cold, hollow sound. "You'll find out soon enough," it said, "but first let me tell you a story." The voice began to recount a tale of betrayal, of a man named Edward who had been cheated and left for dead. As the story unfolded, Mark's blood ran cold. He recognized the name Edward. It was the previous owner of the gas station, a man who had mysteriously disappeared a year ago. The voice on the phone, filled with rage and vengeance, claimed to be Edward, back from the dead to seek revenge on those who had wronged him. Mark's gas station, his sanctuary, now felt like a prison, the air thick with dread and the unseen presence of a vengeful spirit. Rain lashed against the windows of Emily's apartment, mirroring the turmoil brewing inside her. She clutched the phone, her hands slick with nervous sweat. The voice on the other end of the line had sent a shiver down her spine, a cold whisper that seemed to slither through the phone and wrap itself around her heart. "Don't you want to know when it's going to happen?" the voice had hissed, a chilling blend of amusement and malice. Emily had been receiving these strange calls for weeks, each one a cryptic message, a veiled threat. At first she dismissed them as pranks, but the voice, with its uncanny ability to know her deepest fears, had slowly chipped away at her composure. "Who is this?" she breathed, her voice barely a whisper. The voice on the other end chuckled, a dry, brittle sound like dead leaves skittering across pavement. "Don't you recognize your own demise, Emily?" Fear choked her, tightening its grip around her throat. The voice continued. 3 days. 3 days, Emily. And then the line went dead, leaving a deafening silence in its wake. 3 days. The words echoed in her mind, each syllable a hammer blow to her sanity. She tried to rationalize it, to convince herself it was just a cruel joke, but deep down a primal fear took root, whispering that this was no laughing matter. The next 3 days were a blur of anxiety and dread. Sleep evaded her, replaced by chilling visions of shadowy figures and that haunting voice. Emily withdrew from her friends, her fear a tangible barrier. How could she explain the unexplainable, the cold dread that had seeped into her bones? The third day dawned grey and heavy with foreboding. Emily found herself drawn to the phone, her gaze fixated on its sleek black surface. It was almost as if she was waiting, bracing herself for the inevitable. As dusk began to paint the sky in hues of purple and orange, the phone rang. One single sharp ring that shattered the silence like a gunshot. Emily stared at the phone, her heart pounding against her ribs like a trapped bird. "Pick it up," a voice whispered in the back of her mind. "Find out your fate." With trembling fingers, she answered the call. "Hello?" Silence. And then that bone-chilling voice, closer now, as if it were right beside her. "Time's up, Emily." A blood-curdling scream escaped her lips as a blinding light engulfed her vision. The phone clatters to the floor, the dial tone a lonely echoing sound in the silence that follows. These stories remind us that sometimes the dead have unfinished business. Their voices, trapped between this world and the next, reach out, seeking solace, revenge, or perhaps just one last goodbye. If you enjoyed these tales, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more spine-tingling stories. Your support keeps the darkness alive. Until next time, stay safe and beware of the phantom phone calls. You never know when the next ring might be for you.